Today's video will be on the solutions to the odd number problems from the test we took this past Friday, which was on solving one-step and multi-step equations and word problems. On the next page, I'm showing you a glimpse of that first page. The next pages will be more of a close-up and explanations, but this is just to remind you what the test looked like to begin with. Okay, the first problem. This is a one-step problem. We have to undo whatever's being done to my variable. What is the variable in this equation? Is B? Sorry, wrong one. Okay, B is my variable. So I have to basically solve for B equals. And what I want there is a just plain old number. So what's being done to B is you're subtracting 7 from it. Opposite of subtraction is addition. So we have to add back whatever's being subtracted. 7 is being subtracted, so I add 7. But as soon as I do this, in order to for the equal sign to remain valid, I have to add 7 to that side. Now remember, I'm not focusing on the other side first. I am focusing on whatever's really closest to B, on the same side as B. So at this point, I really recommend you put a line. This particular line means, like this is summation or result of the operations above. What's left on the left-hand side is the negative 7 cancels out with a positive 7. What remains is just letter B. Now you can put plus 0, but it really doesn't make sense. As soon as you realize that those 7's cancel out, that's a 0. Okay, so I'm actually going to erase it as to not be confusing. Okay, so B equals, and you just do the operations on the other side. 3 plus 7 is 10. Okay, I would strongly recommend putting a box around your answers, because if especially on 2 or 3 step problems, there could be so much work being shown that it's really confusing to see what is your final answer. Okay, so there's my box, and that's my answer. So I'm going, when you have a chance, do problem number 2 on your own, and so forth. When I will do only the odd ones here. You follow the odd instructions, and you practice on the even ones, and then you can maybe have a chance for a retake of this test if you felt you could do better. All right, number 3. The only thing that confuses about number 3 is this negative and negative, two negative signs in a row. Whenever we see that, before we actually do any operations, I want to rewrite that in a simplified form. What does that operating at the 2 negatives in a row mean? It really means a plus. So this problem could be rewritten n plus 3 equals to 9, and now becomes a relatively easy one-step problem. We subtract 3 from both sides. What's left? So I'm writing a little too big. What's left on that side is just n. You know what? I'm gonna back up, and I'm gonna make this a little bit better so you can see. All right. Okay. These two signs became plus. So this is really n plus 3 equals 9 equals. Now, my next step is I subtract 3 to basically do opposite of what's being done to my letter n, and sum up n equals, the 3's canceled away, so that's why it's just n by itself, and 9 minus 3 is 6. And box my answer, and there it is. In fact, what I'm going to do, so that as not to be confusing. Oh no, never mind. I was hoping to move all that, but anyway, let's look at problem number 3. I'll move it down a little bit further. Okay. Problem number 3. what's being done? That's actually, this problem gave a lot of students some trouble. What's being done to my letter B? I really do not want to focus on the left-hand side yet. All I'm looking for is really what's being done to my letter B. And my letter B, my variable B, is being divided by 7. So what's the opposite of operation of dividing by 7? It is multiplication by 7. So in order for me to get B by itself, I multiply both sides. I could put parentheses here only because there's a negative sign. I really don't want to put a number followed by a negative sign because that means it's a minus. But in this case, it's really 7 times. See this? I'm multiplying both sides by number 7. And the reason why I do that is since B is being divided by 7, when I multiply by 7, I get back to my original letter B, because this operation will cancel out. So what's on this side? Just my letter B. That's what I want. Now in this case, because I have a fraction to begin with, it's a little bit complicated, but not very. Now, two ways of doing it. You could realize that the 7s here will also cancel out. This is like a special case of, the fractions are simplified here. But if you didn't notice that right away, just do the operation. What is 7 times negative, remember it's negative 3, so it's really negative 21 divided by 7. And you can simplify that. I mean, you really should just jump at you. The answer is negative 3. Because another way of looking at it, if you notice that just like on the right hand side the 7s canceled out, these 7s will actually cancel out. And what you have left on that side is just negative 3. Make sure you don't forget that negative sign. Without that, you would get B equals 3, which is only partially, you would only get partial credit. Anyway, there's the answer. B equals negative 3. Looking at problem number 7. What is being done to my letter X? My letter X is being multiplied. It's a multiplication sign in there. Okay, I'll rewrite that. It's really multiplied by negative 10. That's what's key. Negative 10. It's not just 10, it's negative 10. So I'm going to erase all this kind of so that it's a little clearer. In order for me to undo that operation, I am dividing by whatever's at the top, divided by negative 10. Don't forget that negative. As soon as I do this, I put the division sign on the other side. I put negative 10. The whole idea of you find whatever number to divide by so that the top coefficient is cancelled and X remains by itself. As soon as I do this, and I did, I put the negative 10 on the other side. So what is negative 30 divided by negative 10? Well, you should realize that that is a positive 3. And the only thing that was left on my right hand side was letter X, because the negative 10's canceled away. And that's it. That's my answer. Now, in fact, this answer was somewhat more complicated than a lot of other ones because of that negative sign. But remember, don't forget to take care of the negative part. Okay, problem number 7. Let's go on to problem number 9. Now we're doing two-step equations. The reason why it's two steps, there's what's being done. Look at number 9. What's being done to my letter N? First it's being multiplied by negative 4, and then you're adding something. So to undo, to get N by itself, you have to do two steps in reverse of what's being done to it. Alright, I'm gonna get rid of all this. So in order to get to my letter N by itself, I have to undo this first. This is a more, the first problem. And how do I undo plus 3? Well, that's a very simple, minus 3. As soon as I do this, I gotta do the same thing to the other side. Put a Now these bars are not division bars, these are like summation or, they're summation bars, or whatever, in this case it's subtraction. So 3 minus 3 canceled away, so you don't have to worry about those numbers. What's left on my right hand side is just negative 4n. Again, don't forget the negative part. The negative sign is very critical here. And what's left on my left hand side? Negative 21 minus 3 is negative 24. Make sure you brush up on your addition, subtraction of positive and negative numbers. That's from the previous topic we've been covering. Alright, so how do I get n by itself? And remember, the whole idea is to get n by itself. So we need to divide, since this is a multiplication operation in between them, this is a multiplication, we need to undo that by dividing by negative 4. Again, the key is make sure you don't forget the negative part. As soon as I do that, I got to do negative 4 on this side. My negative 4 and negative 4 cancel out. What's left is equal. Alright, what's left on the right hand side is just my plain old n. And what's left on the left hand side is negative 24 divided by negative 4 is positive 6. Remember, when you do multiplication or division on same signs, when two numbers have the same signs, the answer is always going to be positive. And that's confusing, a little bit confusing compared to the addition and subtraction rules, but in some ways it's a lot easier. Alright, there's my answer, n equals 6. Or 6 equals n. I don't really care which side n is on, because it really means the same thing. Alright, problem number 11. What's the first step to get rid of is this plus 4. Don't worry about the 3, don't worry about the 2 yet. It's the 4 that's got to be taken care of in the very first step. How do I undo plus 4? Well, with a minus 4. Minus 4 to the other side immediately. What's left on my right hand side? Well, let's put an equal sign just so we separate them. What's left on my right hand side is the 4's canceled away, and I have left m divided by 4. What's on my left hand side? 2 minus 4 is negative 2. Make sure you don't forget the negative part. The negative 2. Now, what am I? Okay, let me change the color. I need to get rid of this. I need to get rid of that 4 to get m by itself. And this is similar to the previous, problems a little earlier. How do I get rid of that? By I want to use blue. Since m is being divided by 4, I have to multiply by 4 both sides. Multiplied. And again, I'm just putting the parentheses around negative 2 just so it's not confusing. 4 times negative 2, it doesn't look like 4 minus 2. It's 4 times negative 2. What's left on my right hand side is the 4's canceled out, because it's this 4 right here, that's in the numerator. I divided by 4 in the denominator, they just cancel out to be equals to 1. So that this side becomes just plain old m. And the other side is 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. And you're done. M is by itself, put a box around it, that tells me that you're done, that's your final answer, and that's it. Now again, practice. I set it up so that the even ones are very, very similar, if not identical, in the skills. The numbers are different, but the skill's the same. So practice. This is the first page of the test, and in the next video I'll do the second page of the test.